guys think happened? Can you comment on
I
that?
don't know what happened, but I'm the one called DCS and got this started.
And why did you call DCS?
Because my granddaughter, she never did come back, and I just want to know what happened to her.
When was the last time you had seen her?
Thanksgiving, up to his house. We all had Thanksgiving dinner.
So you hadn't seen her since Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving.
I know some reports say that it was like early December, so yours was a lot longer than that.
Yeah, it was Thanksgiving.
Had you been in communication with them at all? Like, I know you hadn't seen her, but what about talking?
No, I hadn't talked to her enough. I stayed busy, and I talked to my ex-wife, and I told her, I said, if Evelyn don't come home, I said, I'm going to do something about it. And she said, you better not do that. You're going to regret this.
This is Tommy Boswell Sr. of Sullivan County, Tennessee. On February 18, 2020, he called the Department of Children's Services to report that his granddaughter, Evelyn, was missing under suspicious circumstances. He hadn't seen or heard from her in months, and every time he asked his daughter, 18-year-old Megan Boswell, where Evelyn was, he felt like he was getting the runaround. Megan initially claimed that the toddler was with her biological father, Ethan Perry, a U.S. Army serviceman with whom she was no longer in a relationship. But Mr. Boswell wasn't buying it. In court testimony, he later described how Megan dodged his questions, never giving a straight answer about where Evelyn was or who had her.
Did you see Megan after Christmas?
Here or there, very rarely.
I'm sorry. Could you
Just here or there, not that much.
Here or there, okay. Did you see Evelyn?
No, last time I seen Evelyn was on Thanksgiving.
Okay. Did you ever, in those times that you saw Megan after Christmas, did you ever ask her, hey?
Yes, I asked her numerous times.
Okay. And what did she tell you?
She kept coming up with different stories and different lies.
Okay. Well, what was she telling you?
First, it was Ethan had her. First, let me back up, I'm sorry. Hunter's mom was watching her. And then she come off with Ethan had her. And after it went on for a while, I said, I'm going to do something about this. Well, she told me that Ethan wouldn't give her back. I said, hey, let's go get an attorney. I said, he can see his daughter, but he's not taking her.
Okay. What did she say when you told her that?
I can't remember exact words. She said, Dad, give me a day or two or something. She said, I'll get her something. And just lie after lie.
Okay. Any point in time did you ever see Evelyn?
No. Last time I seen her was on Thanksgiving, sir.
Okay.
Evelyn. Hi. Mwah. Mwah.
Mr. Boswell's call to Children's Services set off a chain reaction, launching authorities into a case filled with lies, misdirection, and tragedy. That call would set off a massive investigation, but before we dive into the details, let's take a step back to understand the key players in this case. Tommy Boswell Sr. and Angela Boswell were married for about 17 years before divorcing in 2016. Angela gave birth to their first child, a son, at age 15. 8 years later, their daughter Megan was born. By February 2020, Mr. Boswell lived on a 10-acre property in Bluntville, a small rural community of about 3,120 people. His property had 2 residences, one for him and his family, the other for his parents. Megan, who also goes by Maggie, mostly lived with her paternal grandparents as her parents struggled with substance abuse and various legal issues. By 17, problems at home led to Megan being placed in foster care. According to Mr. Boswell, Children's Services became involved after her mother failed to send her to school. While still in the system, Megan gave birth to Evelyn in November 2018. After 4 months in foster care, Mr. Boswell took Megan and Evelyn back in. He covered all expenses, including buying her a $20,000 car in cash. But tensions soon grew, and after repeatedly refusing to clean her room, he asked Megan to leave. Mr. Boswell set her up in a trailer owned by a relative at the Lakeshore RV Park. By December 2019, she had left the trailer to move in with her new boyfriend, Hunter Wood. In the following months, Mr. Boswell saw Megan and Evelyn only occasionally, taking us to February 18, 2020. Frustrated by Megan's evasiveness to questions about Evelyn's whereabouts, he contacted Children's Services to report that his granddaughter was missing. He explained that Megan had full custody, yet she never reported her daughter gone for reasons still unclear. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation quickly joined local police in the search. On February 19th, a statewide Amber Alert generated over 870 tips. Despite massive search efforts, there was no sign of Evelyn. Meanwhile, investigators from the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office needed answers from Megan.
So, you and Evelyn get your own place in October, all right? So from October until now, walk me through.
Okay. Ethan came. I went to Texas to see Ethan like a couple of weeks.
When was that?
November, December.
Did baby go with you?
Yes.
All right. So you and baby went to Texas
Yeah.
to Ethan.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was the first time that he met her because he didn't really have anything to do with her up until that point.
Okay.
Okay. So sometime in December, me and Hunter moved in together.
Hunter's boyfriend?
Yes.
Okay.
But at that time, Evelyn was not with me when I started staying there because Ethan had her.
All right. So when you and baby went to Texas in November, the first time she met Ethan, did she come back with you?
Yes.
All right. So y'all went to Texas, had a couple weeks.
Yes.
She come back with you.
Mhm.
And then walk me through from November to December.
Okay. I had her up until, me and Hunter didn't start staying together until probably like the middle towards the end of December.
Okay.
So up until that point, I lived in the trailers at my dad's.
Right.
I know it wasn't any longer than like December 25th because I was with Hunter on Christmas, and also that's when the lights got cut off because I just completely like had moved all my stuff out.
Okay.
Okay, and then Ethan got hurt.
When?
On Christmas Day, me and Hunter, we came back from Pigeon Forge, because on Christmas Eve, me, my dad, and Hunter, like everybody took a trip to Pigeon Forge,
Mhm.
and then Christmas morning we came back, and he got her then.
Did he come up and get her? Did you take her to him?
No, we took her to him.
Where did you take her?
Wherever his grandparents' house is, got like a long gravel driveway, it's off part of town of Blockville.
Okay, so it's local. All right. So what made you all take her to him? Because he's not been in her life.
Well, because he was like complaining about wanting to know her, and I mean, like that's her dad. I was trying to give him a fair shot, you know what I mean?
Was your plan to leave her?
No, I wanted to get her back,
Okay, so
but I wanted to let her have time to bond with her dad. And then after, like,
did you stay there? Or did you just drop her off and say sayonara?
I mean, I sat there for a little bit, and then she was fine. She kind of remembered from Texas.
Okay, so let's back up. He texted you saying he wanted to be in her life. And he said, hey, I'm at Hardtown, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So you say that would be great for you to be in your daughter's life.
Yeah,
So you and Hunter, or just you?
me and Hunter.
You and Hunter take Evelyn to where Ethan is,
Mhm.
all right? What happens then?
Well, Ethan would not let me come on the driveway. He made me walk all the way up his driveway, like, you know. And I walked up there first by myself, and I was like, you're being ridiculous. Let me pull up the driveway. You know, because he was mad Hunter was with me. And I told him Hunter was coming with me when I got there.
Mhm.
Like, before I got there, I called him. This was when I still had my own phone. I called him, and I was like, hey, like, I'm gonna come up there. You know, he got her some stuff for Christmas, and I was like, okay, that's fine. I went to my brother's and got what he had gotten her for Christmas and stuff, you know, and I was like, I'll send it with you. I'll get her clothes and stuff, and we'll go up there. You know, I was like, that's fine. I was like, Hunter's gonna come with me, and he's like, okay, that's fine. I get there, and he's like, no, I don't want to come up my driveway.
Okay.
So at first I walked up there by myself, you know, I tried to talk to him to let me pull up the driveway, but I really didn't walk her up there, you know what I'm saying. Walked myself back down, got her out of the car, and went back up there.
Okay.
And then I sat there for maybe like 23 minutes, she was fine, I left.
When you and Hunter took the baby there, did you and Ethan have a talk about how long she was going to be staying with him? So you took your baby, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this,
Okay.
you took your baby that you've cared for since the day she was born to her dad's house that she's had nothing to do with, and you stayed for 30 minutes, and he was being an ass, made you walk all the way up the driveway, was being difficult, and you left your baby with this man.
Well, I mean, I trusted him, so I was like, it's her dad.
So just because it's her dad, you trusted him, and he's not been in her life at all.
Well, I mean, I tried to give him benefit of the doubt, but I don't think Ethan's a bad person.
But this is your baby.
Right.
You see where I'm
that's
coming from?
I see that, but like you also have to understand that was like your dad.
Okay, so I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to argue with you.
No, no.
It sounds like I am, but
Well,
like,
this story, I feel like you're being honest, but there's a big chunk that you're not telling us. And I'm just going to call it like it is, okay? Something within this story has happened. There's a huge chunk that you're just not telling us. I think you took her to him, probably around that time. But there's something missing, and we've got to find that missing piece, okay? And just looking at you, I can tell something ain't making sense. Can you gather that? Okay. She gathers it too. So you leave her with Ethan on Christmas, all right? Walk me through from Christmas till now.
okay, he talked to me like the next day, and then he just kind of stopped like talking to me, not answering the phone, you know, and then he got mad, and he got drunk, and he told me he was going to come kill me, because he does that.
When was this?
New Year's, I think.
All right, so he had the baby. Did you trace the baby back?
I went by where I picked her up, and she wasn't there.
Okay, so I'm trying to wrap my head around this again. You're a mom who's dropped your kid off with a dad that she don't know.
Well, then I tried to...
And now you can't find her, but you don't notify us. You just have a good New Year's and carry on with life?
Well, I mean, he told me he was going to his friend's house.
Okay, what friend?
I don't know their names, but I kind of know around about where they live.
So now this man that don't know your child is taking your child to someone's house that you don't even know their name?
Well, it was his friend. Like, I understand where you're coming from, but also I was really trying to give him the benefit of the doubt because he never helped me with everything.
How many benefits of the doubt are we going to give him in the story before you start telling me the truth? Because there's two ways this can go, okay? In order to do our job, we got to have your cooperation, and you've got to be honest with us, okay? But if you sit here and you continue to lie, which I know you're doing, it's not going to end well, okay? Because at the end of the day, we're going to figure out what happened. We are. Okay? So, do we need to back up, Edie, and start over, and have you start telling us the truth?
He got mad because he didn't want Evelyn to be around Hunter,
Okay.
and then he just stopped talking to me. Like, on New Year's, he got mad, and he used to get mad all the time at me and be like, well, I'm going to kill you, blah, blah, blah. And then me and him broke up because he was, like, threatening my little brother.
So you have not talked to him since New Year's, is what you're telling me.
And he's messaged me maybe one time. I've tried leaving him several voicemails. He won't answer me.
You got your phone on you?
Mm.
Where is your phone?
Me and my dad got into it, I'll be honest with you, probably like a couple days after Christmas, because that's the last time I've been around my dad, and I was kind of smashed because I want to talk to him. I was really not having money to get around him.
So within the messages you would send Ethan, how would you do that if you don't have a phone?
From Hunter's phone.
From Hunter's phone. Okay.
I've tried to call him several times. He has not returned my calls.
So when were you going to notify us about your baby?
If he didn't meet me tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow. Why tomorrow? Because you waited months and you not cared in months. So why tomorrow would you notify us?
I was going to try to meet him tomorrow to get her.
Have you talked about that?
He told me he'd give her back to me in about 2 months. Or when me and Hunter broke up.
So he told you, and you just picked tomorrow without notifying him of anything.
Well, no, tomorrow would have been 2 months.
Oh. Well, have you talked to him to verify a date? So then what would you want to notify us of? Because how would he know to come meet you?
Because that's what he said, 2 months.
Where was y'all going to meet at?
Ingalls, that kind of Hunter.
So where do you think your baby is right now?
I have no clue. I thought she was with him.
Is this your only kid? You ever had a kid before?
No, it's my only kid. She got confused with the records and thought that I had 2 kids. But when I was in foster care, I had to place Evelyn in an agreement with Holston Homes so I could keep her with me at the foster care place because they would not let me keep her any other way.
So where do you think she's at?
I don't know.
You seem totally unfazed by this. That tells me that you know where your baby's at,
No, I don't.
Megan. I've been doing this a long time. I've talked to a lot of mothers. I've talked to a lot of girls. Okay? What you're telling me very well could be partial truth. But like I said, there's a piece that you're not telling me. We're going to figure out what happened. We always do. Okay? Are you connected in any way?
No.
I'm going to straight up ask you, did you have anything to do with you not knowing where your daughter's at?
I mean, I dropped her off at Ethan, so I mean, in a way, yes, but as far as like anything else, no.
Police were not buying what Megan was selling. Her inconsistencies and shifting details only made them more suspicious. But with no solid evidence to hold her, they had to let her go. For now. Yet, instead of laying low, Megan did the opposite. Soon after the police interview, she was in front of TV cameras. She switched gears from evasive suspect to concerned mother as she pleaded for baby Evelyn's safe return.
I love her and I miss her, and that I'll be with her as soon as I can get to her any way I can.
That's Maggie Boswell's message to her daughter, Evelyn.
She's a happy baby. She hardly ever cries. She wants to wave and talk to everybody. She walks funny. She doesn't know how to pick her feet up.
Evelyn has been missing since December. But Boswell says she knows who took her. You do know who has her. Are you worried about her safety?
Well, the reason I didn't report it or anything is because I knew the person who had her, and I didn't want them to run away with her. And as soon as they thought anything was going on, they just kind of vanished. Mm-hmm. So I'm just worried about, like where they're at, what they're doing with her at this point in time.
Boswell wouldn't reveal who took her daughter, but says they were watching Evelyn while she was at work.
They should just bring her back. They obviously know what's going on, and they need to bring her back home.
Boswell wasn't worried at first until the identified abductor broke her trust and took her daughter. When did you realize that they had completely disappeared?
So in a way, I knew that as soon as anything went down, the person was going to just disappear, and they have. And they've tried to find them. They won't answer phone calls. They've just kind of disappeared.
Boswell admits she'd do things differently if given a second chance.
Yeah, I probably called the first day. I should have. But I just didn't want them to run with her like they have now.
While Megan was giving her TV interview, Sheriff Jeff Cassidy held a press conference. He told media members his office had received conflicting reports on when Evelyn was last seen. One account suggested December 26, 2019, while a babysitter placed the last sighting around December 10th or 11th. When asked about Megan's version of events, Cassidy explained, "I'm not going to go with what the mother stated because some of the conflicting stories are inaccurate." Investigators had already confirmed with Evelyn's father, Ethan Perry, that he was stationed in Louisiana with the Army and had no involvement in her daily care. After hours of questioning, police ruled him out as a person of interest. Meanwhile, investigators followed a lead and issued a bolo for a silver BMW suspected to be connected to the case. They believed 2 individuals in the vehicle might have information about Evelyn's whereabouts. The car was later found in Wilkes County, North Carolina, with a familiar occupant inside.
A bolo was issued for the silver BMW on February 21st. Angela and William were arrested with it in Wilkes County, North Carolina. One of the officers who made the arrest was Wilkes County Detective Jason Adams, who also testified in court today. Adams said Angela told him she'd purchased the car from her daughter's boyfriend, but could provide no documentation to prove this. Judge Louderback bound the case over to grand jury. Angela and William returned to the Sullivan County Jail, where they're held on other charges unrelated to the car theft.
Megan's mother, Angela Boswell, and her boyfriend, William McLeod, were arrested on outstanding theft warrants after authorities discovered the 2007 BMW had been reported stolen in Tennessee. But when questioned, neither could offer any useful information about Evelyn's whereabouts, and detectives ruled out any direct connection between them and the missing child. Then, just 3 days later, things got even messier. Megan initially told police that Evelyn had been picked up by Ethan, who was refusing to return her. She then told a news reporter that some unnamed person had her. Yet, in a second televised interview, Megan dropped the bombshell allegation.
let's get into the last time you saw her. Tell me what that time was like and when that was.
Well, actually, I want to talk about that. I've told TBI where to find her in Mendota. My mom took her to a campground and a silver camper, and if they don't go tonight, I'm going to go find her myself. Because I've told them, and they're not really, like, taking it seriously, and if they don't go tonight, like, I will go myself and go get her.
Tell me about the last time, though, that you saw Evelyn. Tell me what you guys did and when that was.
We went to go out to eat, and then my mom came and got her. She was wearing a little hot pink tracksuit with the matching bow and little matching shoes.
And was this December 20, like right after Christmas?
A little bit before Christmas. My mom, like, you can ask her, is a very vindictive, manipulating person, and she basically, like, threatened me the whole time that she was gone.
Do you know who has Evelyn right now?
She dropped her off somewhere in Mendota at a silver camper. But my mom would always say the person, not like people, plural.
So there is a person that has her in Mendota.
They're not taking me seriously, TBI isn't, because I've not fully told them. I've been like, hey, like my mom camped out at Mendota, you want to go check them out, but I've never been like specifically, hey, she's not your silver camper, because my mom did threaten me, like, you know, if I told anybody. I'm not going to get into that, but she did.
So your mom has had Evelyn the whole time? Or the whole time?
Or the person that is in Mendota has had her the whole time.
Acting on the information that Angela had taken the toddler to a campground in Mendota, Virginia, the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office and Virginia law enforcement extensively searched 3 campgrounds, but came up empty. Investigators grew increasingly skeptical of Megan's credibility. When asked to take a polygraph test, she claimed she was pregnant and therefore unable to comply, a statement officials later debunked. Around the same time, her former boyfriend, Hunter Wood, spoke with a local TV news station.
Now, as the investigation continues for the search of this 15-month-old child, many people are telling me that they are being attacked on social media due to their involvement with the family. And I spoke with one man who says he has nothing to do with the disappearance of 15-month-old Evelyn Boswell.
I've never seen the baby in my life.
Hunter Wood says he briefly dated Evelyn's mother, Megan Boswell.
She applied for a job at my restaurant, Hunter T's Chicken Shack, and it wasn't like a relationship. It was an on and off going, you know what I'm saying, type deal. It wasn't like an all-out, like, you know, relationship.
He says he's known Megan Boswell for about 2 months and never saw baby Evelyn.
All I've seen is pictures of her. I have no relationship with that child whatsoever.
He says he's received threats over the internet, causing him to shut down his restaurant's Facebook page.
To my knowledge, the entire time that I've known Maggie, I've never seen the baby, of course, but as well as the baby has been with the father, you know, back from military leave. And that is all that I've known about the child.
He wants the focus to be on finding the child and not on him and his business.
There's been a bunch of stuff said about, you know what I'm saying, my restaurant, Hunter T's Chicken Shack, things negative towards, you know what I'm saying, to try to, you know, stir away the main key factor of us just trying to operate.
The Sullivan County Sheriff's Office is working with the TBI to find baby Evelyn, who was reportedly last seen around December 26th.
After being relentlessly harassed on social media and falsely accused of involvement in Evelyn's disappearance, Hunter Wood's mental health began to decline. His father later testified about the impact the online abuse had on his son.
Now, your son Hunter, does he still live with you?
No, he started living with his mother, but he's at the hospital at the moment.
Okay. He's at a hospital. Where is he in a hospital?
Marion, Virginia.
All right. Is that a mental hospital?
Yes.
How long has he been there?
2 months.
Okay. What, have you been up there to see him at that facility?
Yes.
What is his mental status this time?
Well, some days he's pretty decent. Other days he don't know who I am.
Okay. Would he be able to come into this courtroom and testify?
No.
Okay. You mentioned that he'd been there for about 2 months.
Yes.
Had he had mental health problems prior to that?
Yes.
Okay. When did he, if you know, when did he start having mental health problems?
Well, when he got accused of being a baby killer.
Okay.
Objection.
I'll just draw it, Jim. I will draw it.
Hunter Wood was never implicated or charged by police in any wrongdoing associated with the disappearance of Evelyn Boswell. Based on what Megan told him, Hunter believed Evelyn was with her biological father, Ethan Perry, but in later court testimony, Ethan told a different story.
In February of 2020, did you receive some phone calls? Well, let me ask you this. Were you still in the Army, still at Fort Polk at that time?
Correct.
Okay. Did you receive some phone calls from family members?
I can't remember.
Okay. Did you receive some phone calls by the Department of Children's Services here in Tennessee?
Yes.
That surprised you?
Yes.
Okay.
I did.
All right. And without saying what they said, why were they contacting you?
For the whereabouts of Evelyn.
All right. Did that surprise you?
Yes.
And why was that?
Because, well, I didn't have Evelyn, and that's what they were asking. If I had her, or if I seen her, or the last place that, where do I think where she would be, stuff like that.
All right. Were you then contacted by investigators with the U.S. Army?
Yes, I was contacted by the Central Investigation Division,
okay.
CID.
And kind of tell us what happened with all that.
I was contacted by CID. They wanted to set an appointment for after lunch, and so I went back to my barracks room, to get ready. I still had no clue what was going on until I got the call by DCS, and which they were asking about the whereabouts of Evelyn, and so, which I gave the response. I don't know, all that.
Were you interviewed by interrogators there?
Yes.
For hours?
Yes.
Okay. Did you cooperate with them fully?
Yes.
Did you allow them to search your cell phone?
Yeah, search my cell phone, take DNA, search my barracks, and search my car.
Okay. So investigators searched the barracks looking for Evelyn?
Correct.
In Fort Polk, Louisiana?
Correct.
Okay. Was Evelyn there with you at your Army base there in Louisiana?
No.
Has she ever been there?
No.
With you?
No.
Okay. Did you cooperate fully with law enforcement in providing consent to search, provide DNA, anything else that was needed?
Absolutely. Everything that I could.
Okay. The only time you ever saw, when was the only time you ever saw Evelyn?
Was in El Paso.
Okay. That one time when Megan showed up?
Yeah, just out of the blue.
All right. Did you cooperate with law enforcement in determining the paternity of Evelyn Boswell?
Yes.
All right. Were you the biological father?
No.
Okay. All right. So the one and only time you see Evelyn is in 2019 before you came home for Christmas. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Perry. If you would answer any questions Mr. Scott has for you.
Ethan Perry had his doubts early on, but the official paternity test still confirmed what he had feared. He was not Evelyn's biological father. In an instant, the child he thought was his was suddenly a stranger, a devastating revelation he did not see coming. Megan's false statements wasted valuable time and resources, sending investigators on wild goose chases instead of helping to find Evelyn. In missing child cases, every second counts, and her deception only made things worse. By February 25, 2020, Megan was under arrest. She was initially charged with false reporting, and bond was set at $25,000. When she was booked into Sullivan County Jail, records listed her as pregnant, a claim that was later disproven. With Megan behind bars, investigators turned up the heat on the search for Evelyn. On February 27th, they executed a search warrant at the RV park where Megan and Evelyn once had lived. Forensic teams scoured the property using luminol testing and ground-penetrating radar to detect any hidden evidence. 8 days later, investigators executed a search warrant at Tommy Boswell's property, 3 miles from the trailer home. Inside a child's playhouse, they made a gruesome discovery. Evelyn's remains hidden in a trash can, wrapped in tin foil, a blanket, and a garbage bag, discarded as if they were ordinary waste. The medical examiner found Evelyn positioned upside down, a clear sign of intentional concealment. Her cause of death was determined to be asphyxiation, with the manner ruled as homicidal violence, evidence that she was deliberately smothered. For those who had spent weeks hoping to find Evelyn alive, this discovery was devastating. What was once a desperate search for a missing child had now become a murder investigation. That summer, Megan was formally charged with 2 counts of felony murder. She pleaded not guilty, and the case was bound over for trial. As for Ethan Perry, he had long believed he was Evelyn's biological father. However, since Evelyn is deceased, determining paternity is no longer a priority, and as of the date of this upload, no other individual has been publicly identified. In their opening statement, prosecutors painted Megan as a manipulative liar who deliberately misled investigators to cover up her daughter's murder. Megan's attorneys pushed back, claiming she was a young, overwhelmed mother who panicked when she discovered her daughter unresponsive. They argued that her inconsistent stories weren't evidence of guilt, but the result of fear and confusion. During the trial, the prosecution called more than 30 witnesses, including law enforcement officers, forensic experts, medical examiners, and people who knew the accused. Many delivered emotional testimony.
How was it? Explain to me exactly what happened as far as Megan's living arrangements were concerned there at the trailer park.
What do you mean? She didn't pay no rent, no light bill. I mean, she didn't pay no bills, if that's what you're asking.
Okay, so you had a trailer out there and you let her go live there?
Yeah, and I paid all the bills.
Okay. Did she live there by herself, or who lived there with her?
As far as I know, just her and Evelyn.
Okay. Do you remember when this was that she moved into that trailer?
Goodness, no, I don't, sir.
Okay. Would you say
all this stuff I've tried to put back in my brain and to want to forget it, and I'm trying my best to remember it.
Well, I appreciate that. Okay. So she and Evelyn are living in this trailer by themselves out on Sugar Hollow. Is that right?
Yes, speak up.
Yes.
Okay.
So you shake your head. Yes.
Okay. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. If you need a minute, let us know. Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. Did you ever go out and see Megan and Evelyn when they lived there at the trailer?
A few times.
Okay. Did you see the condition of the trailer, what it looked like?
Most of the time I'd stay outside. She'd come outside to be pretty because I'd look around, pick up garbage and stuff.
Okay.
But a couple times I went in, but not that much.
Okay.
And let me know, do you recognize that?
Yes.
What is it?
It's text with me and Megan on December 23rd, 2019 at 4:44 p.m.
Okay, and is that a fair and accurate representation of your conversation with Megan on that date?
Yes.
Your Honor, we'd ask that be admitted as exhibit number 77.
Before exhibit 77. What date was that?
December 23rd. Permission to publish. Okay, I'm going to blow this one up too because it looks a little bit smaller. Okay. So on December 23rd at 4:44 p.m., where does Megan say that she is at?
I'm at Ethan's grandparents with him.
Okay. And then what do you say to Megan?
OMG, how's that? We, you with Evelyn, are you with Evelyn?
Okay, so you're essentially asking her if Evelyn is with her. Okay, and what does she say?
Yes, and good.
Okay. And then jump to the bottom. You ask her a question at 4:45 p.m. What do you say to her?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
At 4:45 p.m., what do you say to Megan?
Also, please send pictures of Evelyn. I miss her.
Okay. And what does Megan say to you?
I will in a second.
Okay. Did Megan send pictures of Evelyn that day?
No.
Bailey, do you need a minute? Okay. Do you have water? Okay. There's tissues up there if you need them, okay?
Caitlin Carter, a former friend of Megan's, testified about her interactions with Megan and Evelyn. She claimed that after Megan started dating Hunter Wood in December, she no longer saw Evelyn around. In this clip, Caitlin describes the moment she realized something was off.
Do you recall going to Chili's with Megan Boswell at one point?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember when that was?
The end of my college semester.
Okay. And do you know when that would have been?
Around the 1st of December.
Okay. Who was there when you went to Chili's that day?
Me, Megan, and Evelyn.
Okay. Anyone else?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you sit at a table or a booth?
Booth.
Okay. And did you sit beside anyone?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So Megan and Evelyn were on one side of the table and you were on the other?
Yes, ma'am.
What was your impression of Evelyn that day?
She was dirty, and I could smell her across the table.
Okay. Have you been around babies before?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Was she beyond what a normal dirty baby would be?
Yes, ma'am.
Sustain.
You said you've been around other babies, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Based on your personal experience with other babies, did you consider Evelyn dirtier than what your experience was with other children?
Based on my personal opinion, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And can you tell us how? Can you describe it for us?
Her face and hands were dirty, and her clothes were dirty.
Okay. Do you recall when Megan started working at the chicken shack?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And do you recall if she was dating anyone when she started working at the chicken shack?
Not when she started.
Okay. When did she start dating someone? Shortly after?
About a week or two after.
Okay. And who was that?
Hunter Wood.
Okay. So around this time, did you notice anything different about the defendant, Megan Boswell?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me what you noticed?
She was spending a lot more time with the gentleman and not Evelyn.
Okay. After this time, when she's dating Hunter Wood, did you see Evelyn with Megan Boswell at any time?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you see Hunter with Evelyn at any time?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you have concerns at this point?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you talk with other people about it?
I don't believe so.
Okay. What were your concerns?
It was strange that Megan Boswell was not with Evelyn because she was always with Evelyn up until this point.
Okay.
Throughout the trial, the state focused on Megan Boswell's pattern of deception and the overwhelming evidence pointing to her guilt. They told the jury that in order to believe Megan's version of events, that Evelyn's death was accidental, they would have to ignore the mountain of evidence against her, something that simply wasn't possible. The prosecution reminded the jury that Megan once described her own child as mean as fuck. They argued that in Megan's mind, there was one obstacle standing between her and her new boyfriend, baby Evelyn. According to them, Megan deliberately smothered her daughter, wrapped her in foil, sealed her in a garbage bag, and dumped her in a trash can, actions that pointed to clear intent and premeditation. To back this up, they pointed directly to the forensic evidence. Megan's fingerprints were found on the very materials used to conceal Evelyn's body. The prosecution also tore apart the defense's attempt to implicate Hunter Wood, emphasizing that there was zero evidence connecting him to Evelyn's death, while every critical piece of evidence pointed straight at Megan. The prosecution closed by urging the jury to use common sense, arguing that Megan's sudden shift in behavior, her web of lies, and her failure to report her child missing were all proof of her guilt in Evelyn's murder. They asked the jury to hold Megan accountable for her choices and deliver a guilty verdict on all charges. After the prosecution laid out their final argument, it was the defense's turn to make their case.
Good afternoon. I appreciate y'all's time. Appreciate you being here. Although I know you may not be here by your own free will, but I still appreciate it. This is a hard case. There's a lot of emotion in this case. And And Amber Massengill is very good at giving an emotional closing and wanting you to play on your emotions. The jury instructions will tell you this case is not about your emotion. It's not about sympathy. It's not about anything else. It's about proof and what's in the evidence. That's what this case is about.
Attorney Scott would go on to push back against the state's theory, suggesting that Megan's actions, while deceptive, didn't mean she was a murderer. They argued that Evelyn's death could have been accidental, that Megan had panicked, and that law enforcement had focused on her while ignoring other possibilities. The defense urged the jury to set aside emotion and focus solely on the facts. They argued that the state had failed to meet its burden of proving Megan's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. After roughly 4.5 hours of deliberation spread over 2 days, the jury returned a verdict. Megan Boswell was found guilty on all charges, including 3 counts of first-degree murder, aggravated child abuse, and aggravated child neglect. With the verdict delivered, the proceedings shifted to the sentencing phase. Before the jury determined Megan's fate, her mother, Angela Boswell, took the stand, making a final plea for leniency in hopes of securing her daughter a chance at parole.
Ma'am, state your name for the record.
Angela Boswell.
You are Megan Boswell's mother?
I am.
Okay. Ms. Boswell, you know the purpose of being here today?
I do.
Okay. I want to ask you some about Megan's home life and growing up, but I guess I want to ask you first a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
And I'm asking you these questions, Ms. Boswell. I'm not trying to embarrass you or cast any aspersions.
No.
You married Tommy Boswell when you were how old?
First time 15.
You speak into that microphone just a little more, please.
The first time 15.
Okay. And when did you become pregnant with your first child with him?
I had my first in April and turned 16 in July. So,
Okay, and who is that child?
Tommy Jr.
Okay. And then you had Megan at some point. How old were you when you had Megan?
There's 8 years difference. I was almost 24.
It's okay. So let's talk about Megan's life growing up. Would it be fair to say that during her lifetime she's witnessed drug use between you and her father?
Yes.
What type of drugs?
Opiates, mainly.
Scoot up and speak into that so the jury can hear you.
Opiates, mainly.
Okay. Did that drug use lead to other problems?
Yeah. Arguments, fighting, yes.
Okay. You say there
strife.
Strife.
Is what it brings, yes. Non-stop.
Is that something that went on pretty much her entire childhood growing up?
Yeah, from the time she was pretty little, yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Good. Now, did she witness fights between you and her father?
Yes.
Okay. I think at some point her father was convicted of aggravated assault and kidnapping.
Yes.
Were you the victim in that?
Yes. Mm.
Do you remember ever taking Megan to any AA meetings with you?
Yes, I did.
How old was she when you did that?
Let me think. She was probably about 7 or 8. First ones I started taking her to. 7 or 8, 8 or 9, somewhere around in there. Yeah. Mm.
Now due to the strife in your home, was she raised by her grandparents to some degree?
Yes.
Okay. Mm. What were their names?
Mary and Danny Boswell.
Okay. Mary Boswell, would that be who's known as a mommy?
Yes. Mm.
These problems, do you feel that it's partly your fault, the problems Megan's experienced?
No, absolutely. Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Unfortunately, your problems, that they went on up into, we saw a video in here of you being brought down from the jail to talk with her in 2020.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So even up until the time she went to jail, you were in and out of jail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I've been.
Have you been convicted of numerous crimes?
Yes.
Okay. Now, have you managed to straighten up at this point?
I have, yes.
You hoping to?
Yes, I pray every day and just, you know, to do my best and try. I've learned the importance of a mother's role, but not for Megan, I didn't.
All right.
I failed her on that miserably.
And you're here asking the jury to give her a sentence of life as opposed to life without?
Yes. Maggie is, at her core, she is a generous, kind-hearted person. And through all Maggie's went through, Maggie still has potential. You know, she was trying so hard. You know, she didn't repeat my mistakes. Maggie learned from my mistakes. And she was trying to do better with Eve. You know, she wasn't repeating. And I think she got saddled with, you know, and just because of my mistakes that she did those, and that was not it. That was not the case with Evelyn.
Would it be fair to say she didn't have a good role model for the mother should be?
No, she did not.
Okay. Answer any of Ms. Massengill or Mr. Harper's questions.
I don't have any questions, Judge.
The aggravated assault charge against Tommy Boswell Sr., mentioned by Angela Boswell, was ultimately dismissed. As far as Megan Boswell, the jury recommended a sentence of life in prison with the possibility of parole after 51 years. A formal sentencing hearing is scheduled for May 22, 2025, to address the remaining charges. For Evelyn's family and the community, the verdict brought long-awaited justice. The case had been a heartbreaking journey, but in the end, the system held Megan accountable for her daughter's tragic death. However, Megan's actions left behind more than just a legal outcome. They caused a ripple effect of pain that extended far beyond the courtroom. Friends and family members were left to grapple with the emotional devastation of losing Evelyn and the betrayal of Megan's deception. Her lies and manipulation fractured relationships, leaving wounds that may never fully heal. Even those who once stood by her were forced to confront the reality of what she had done. The case also burdened law enforcement, investigators, and the legal system, all of whom dedicated countless hours to unraveling the truth. In the end, justice was served, but the damage Megan inflicted on those around her will last a lifetime.